think they feed him the talking points. He does write his own articles. They're genuine, and I think for the most part, Steve, and I've told him this in person, writes a very, very good, well-read blog. And it's not a vicious thing. There's no vicious personal attacks.
But he's fed talking points.
Oh, absolutely.
Now,
Are you fed talking points?
No.
Well,
No?
I think he gets a lot of emails from conservatives that are in Ottawa. Let's
Do
put
you?
it that way.
I get lots of emails from a lot of people, but I do get a lot from conservatives. Let's be honest. I get a lot of
Let's be honest, as opposed to lying.
Yeah, lying, which is I normally do. That's why I wear the goatee. It's the evil thing. No, I get a lot of emails. A lot of my emails come from not from MPs. They don't give me the time of day, but lower down level stuff, like people who work there saying my MP is going to be doing something.
They're a little bit lower down than
two guys in there, but a lot of them are like the people who are running the campaigns on the riding level. They'll give me a heads up and say, my guy's doing this and so on.
Here we have the opinion that the Prime Minister's office, people working in the Prime Minister's office, are feeding you talking points and information. You're saying,
I wish.
No.
For the record, I have never received a talking point, although I've been accused of it many a time.
Because
I haven't.
As an EDA president, which you are.
EDA?
Yeah, he's Andrew is the president of the Guelph Riding Association.
Now we do have to be fair about this. The Liberal Party isn't ignoring their bloggers, and tonight actually there's going to be a public conference call with Mark Marison, who's running the Liberal campaign, and a number of Liberal bloggers. He's refused interviews to CBC and a number of other news organizations. So the Liberal Party does reach out to bloggers. It's not that this is a one-way street. I think to suggest that the Conservatives aren't sending things to Steve, I think clearly they are, but the Liberals also send us things.
Well, we want to obviously resist blogophobia whenever possible. It's a terrible thing. Back in a few moments, a lot more to talk about on the Coren Show. We'll see you very shortly. Welcome back. Michael Coren Show. It's a blogging panel. Every few weeks we have bloggers on, and we hope that about 2 hours after the show they're suing each other. That's a good show when that happens. Halftime, reintroduce him. Jason Cherniak, jasoncherniak.com. Jim Curran, whatdoiknowgrit.com. Andrew Prescott, christianconservative.ca, or Andrew Prescott. And Stephen Janke, angry in the Great White North. Why are you angry, stevejanke.com, by the way? Why are you angry?
When I started blogging about 4 years ago, I was trying to think of a clever name. All the good ones were used. And so I came up with that. It was meant to be temporary, and I was going to change it, and unfortunately by the time I kind of got around to it, I'd already been branded too well known to change it. So
let's move on to the irresponsibility of blogs and the internet, because things can be said that we had the classic. I said we wouldn't. No, I said we would mention Sarah Palin. If I said we wouldn't, I was lying. This nonsense that her son was her grandson, and so on, and that it was actually her daughter's child, and she was pretending. 2 days after this was on a blog, and most people have said it's nonsense, so CBC were reporting it as possibly true. But that's malicious, it's vicious, it's unpleasant for someone to hear. It's not unique. There are all sorts of things are put out that aren't true.
Yes, I think that's absolutely true. You can get mistruths on TV, you can get it on blogs, you can get it in the newspapers.
Much on TV and radio, within moments, that there will be an angry call and you have to correct it.
And I've had issues before where people will blog about me and say some very nasty things, and I've considered lawsuits, and every time I've backed off it because I realized that when you start suing someone, you're getting into actually spending your money to continue doing something for free that you enjoy doing. And I'm just not willing to do that unless I really have a big problem, and I think it's necessary to protect my job, basically.
Over the weekend, it's hardly political, but a concert in Toronto couldn't happen to a nicer person, but one of the Gallagher brothers was pushed over. It shouldn't have happened. It was an attack on the guy. 300,000 hits on the YouTube. Actually, I went there twice as well. It's just rather interesting to see his brother, who only became very aggressive when the assailant was pinned down by security men. But 300,000 hits in a couple of days on a rock star being attacked. Politicians, particularly American, but Canadian too, anything nasty or funny about them, all sorts of people go and watch this stuff and listen to it, and often believe it, and it's not true. There's a far greater vetting process in TV and radio. No, you disagree?
I was just going to say, an event like that, you had Elliot Spitzer, that girl was virtually unknown, and she had 7 million hits in 48 hours.
I wonder why.
7 million. I mean that's incredible traffic. I don't know how a server even handles 7 million hits in 48 hours, but an event like that does get posted to a YouTube, it's just it could take off. It could go, as we call it, viral.
You know what's interesting? What was her name?
Nobody knows.
I can't remember her name now.
She had like 5. So,
yeah, but you know, at the time, the photo was everywhere, and a few months later, I can't even remember the girl's name. That really died a death. But the irresponsibility. I'm not saying you guys are irresponsible, but you can be irresponsible as a blogger. I mean, I'm not going to say where, but I've read things recently, and I thought it was vicious. It was completely unnecessary, and also statements about people taken out of context. I remember a woman who was in charge of a government organization, a former politician, very nice person, not even that political for a former politician, really, and she was attacked on a blog, and it was believed, it was taken up by other people, and she never really cleared her name. This is, I mean, can you control that? Should you try and control that?
I've learned a lesson. I've actually had problem once, and Jason knows about that too. I decided to learn from that and to try and be much more careful. One thing I don't ever want to do on a blog is affect someone's job, their day job. I mean, I might criticize somebody.
What about if they're a crook and deserve to be affected?
Well, then I don't know that many crooks, thank goodness. But we do have a responsibility. A lot of people do read it, and whatever modesty I might think about how much effect I can have, I might write a story that does affect someone badly, that is a sobering thought. There's something that we, as bloggers, I think we do have to be very careful of.
But not everybody has a conscience.
True enough.
Everybody does have a conscience. They just don't listen to it.
Some just don't listen to it. You're right.
I think the important thing here, you're right, blogs can get out of control, and that's why shows like this are so important, because the media can tell people what to take seriously and what not to take seriously. Like, you gain some credibility by being on the news. The CBC's doing a nightly report now on the internet. As long as they're showing people things that are true, then what they're doing is they're directing readers to those blogs that are worthwhile. So, as a writer, sometimes I wish I had an editor, because I, like Steve, have made mistakes, and if I had an editor say, wait a second, get a second source, I wouldn't have written it. So it's a certain danger in what we do, but as long as we're careful, and as long as the people that are highlighted in the mainstream are taken carefully, then I think it works.
But you all have to be your own moral and informational filter. You can write whatever you want to write, and if you've had a bad day, if you didn't sleep that well, if you had an argument with someone, you can write some. We've all sent emails, surely, and moments later thought, oh, I shouldn't have sent that. I really should not have sent that. You put it on a blog, it's there, and even if you remove it, people then photograph it, and I'm sure that's happened to. You've removed what? Has that happened? You've removed it, but someone's taken what do you call it technically? A photo,
a screen grab.
Screen grab,
and it's put on another site.
I've tried very hard to make sure I don't do that, so even my mistakes are still there on the blog. I made one, in fact, last week, where I reported on what I thought were the correct campaign expenses of another candidate. Turned out they were incorrect, but I was sourcing my information from someone else. So yeah, if you don't do your research and stuff like that, like we were saying before, you can get burned.
That would be no defense. If I, on radio or TV or in my newspaper column, if I use that information and I said, well, I got it from someone else, it would just make me look worse. Well, you accepted without checking someone else's information, but I could still be sued or be reprimanded by... Nothing happened to you?
Nothing happened to me, because I actually caught it very quickly and immediately it posted the actually corrected information.
That's what happens in the mainstream media. They reported last week Louise Arbour was running for us as a candidate. It went up and down in less than 15 minutes. So that's never been confirmed, but bloggers make mistakes, mainstream media make mistakes. That went up on the CP sites and everything else, and was down in less than 15 minutes.
But why wouldn't you want an incredibly arrogant left-wing extremist to run for you? That would be a good thing, wouldn't it?
Absolutely.
Capture the left-wing
You're good.
vote.
Back in a few moments on the Michael Coren Show. We'll see you shortly.